guys, my name is Rori, and you are listening to Rori's Room, the podcast where we discuss anything and everything life throws at us. Welcome to Season 3 More Than Just a Job. I am sitting down with creatives and professionals who are chasing and shaping the work that they have always wanted to do. This season is all about sharing different perspectives from different fields and revealing just how those paths might have changed them along the way. This week we continue our conversation with musician, producer, and songwriter TJ Borkenhagen. If you haven't watched or listened to part 1 of TJ's episode, I recommend you do so prior to this segment. That being said, let's enter Rori's Room. This podcast, we both select one thing that we can get behind versus one thing we can't. And since you introduced the last category, I'll spare you and I will go first. So the first thing that I can get behind is making more work for yourself. I was thinking a lot about my schedule recently, and I found it so funny that my schedule was so packed. I'm only taking 12 credits this semester, and one of them's an internship that I go to like once or twice a week. So that's not a lot. But recently I found myself like grasping for time and like really, I actually almost missed an appointment because I had packed so much on my plate, and I was doing hot yoga, and I got a message like 5 minutes before the appointment. It was like, oh, you have an appointment at 11. And I was like, in the midst of my hot yoga, and I was like, this is not good. So I raced home and I somehow made it in time. But
Nice.
As soon as I got home, I ordered like an appointment calendar where I can like plot out on my calendar all my events that I'm doing. And
Nice.
It's been so crazy. But I realized that it isn't because of school projects and all the stuff that I'm required to do. It's because of all of these self-inflicted projects, like working on this podcast, writing screenwriting, and just taking up a lot of new hobbies like reading. One of my New Year's resolutions is to read my height, so 5 feet 6 inches in books. It's a funky New Year's resolution, but I really, really like it. So like the majority of the time when I do have free time, I'm usually probably nose deep in a book, which is something that's so crazy to me still, because I've never really put down the time for reading. Like I've always loved reading and I've always loved storytelling, but I've never really cut out that time to do reading. So the fact that I find myself wanting to do that rather than doing other things it's so nice. I just finished the last book of A Court in Thorns and Roses. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Vaguely.
It's a very, very popular fantasy book. I don't know if it would be up your alley, but I was a mess after the last book, like literally like ugly crying, sobbing for the last like 50 pages. And I had to read a short story. I thought it was a children's book when I bought it, but I bought it from Goodwill, and it was like 100 pages. It's called A Stranger for Christmas by Carol Lynn Pearson, which is about 2 old ladies in a rest home betting on whether one of their children would take in a little old lady from a nursing home to spend the holidays with them instead of like an orphan, or they were watching Annie or something in the beginning, and they're like, I wonder if they would take in a little old lady who doesn't have a family for Christmas. So throughout the entire 100 pages, they called their children, who all have their lives of their own at this point with kids, and they all came up with like excuses on whether they couldn't or why they couldn't take in a little old lady that they didn't know. And it was really upsetting, one of them, and I was and halfway through I was like, oh, this is a sad book, I'm not gonna be able to, like, this is not what I wanted to read after reading the last book. So I was like, oh, I should just put this down. But I kept reading it because it was only like 95 pages. And eventually, thank God, at the last scene, within the last 10 pages, it was, they had basically given up on contacting their family to see if they'd taken a little old lady. And it really affected them because the other lady who wasn't calling her family kind of had that experience where she didn't really have a family for Christmas. She never had kids. She never had grandkids. So she was just kind of alone. Her husband just passed away. So the one who was calling her family was very adamant on getting someone to say yes to this hypothetical woman to take in. And eventually, on that day, they had seen all of her family come in at the same time to visit her, which was across the country. And that was their reason why they couldn't take in the little old lady for Christmas. So they came in and she was so surprised. And she said, one of them said, all of us are here except for one of us who is picking up this lady that you were talking about who didn't exist. So they had just picked up an old lady from a nursing home and were about to bring her across the country to spend Christmas with them.
Yeah.
And it was a ride for sure. I'm not gonna get too into it. I mean, I already did, but it was a good book.
That's a lot. Wow.
Yeah. I just needed something wholesome to read after that because it was crazy reading that. But nevertheless, getting off topic as it was,
that's great. Wow.
I think making these projects really challenges me, and while it can be really hectic sometimes, I think I'm making remarkable progress in my career, so I'm really grateful for my work ethic there.
Let's go.
And then lastly, I'll go quick because I feel like I've talked so much already about this intro topic, and not even the topic as it was. The one thing I can't get behind is underestimating yourself. Throughout my entire life, I feel like there have always been people who have underestimated me and thought that I had unrealistic goals, and it has always made me mad because from a young age, I knew that the only person that could kind of determine what was unrealistic and unattainable was by me not trying. And determination has always coursed through my blood. I've always been a hard worker. So when I set my mind to something, I follow through. And I'm so proud to say that that is one and only reason why I'm here today and where I am. So like, I always express that like, people should never underestimate themselves because there's always going to be people who do that for you. So like, why would you do it too?
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's so true. That's so true. It's like something I've thought about like a lot over, especially over college, is like when you really, like you said, like what is preventing you from going after these things that you want to try, and oftentimes it's just other people's opinions. And like you said, that's not what determines what you can and can't do. And they don't know you. They don't know what you know what you're capable of. And it's so true. When you really just do what you feel like you should do, it's so free. It's so free. Just be yourself.
I underestimated myself for like the first like 2.5 years of my college career. And then there was a moment, I think it was like last spring, where I was really just like, I saw what I could do with my mini series that I created, Outrunnable. I sat down and I was like, so the only person stopping me is me. I was always dwelling on like the past and how I grew up and how people never really believed that I could get to where I am today. And then I was like, none of those people are here now. The only thing that's keeping me from doing the things that I want to do is me reliving that. So I kind of was like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do and just post everything. I also used to be like so critical on myself. And then I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to post everything that I do. So
I feel like people in the creative field or just, production or creative, we're so hard on ourselves. We're so hard because I think we see what goes wrong when people, I don't want to say are overconfident, but they're a little arrogant with their projects, or they don't care about them enough. So we want to avoid that, but it's so easy. I fall into the same pitfall where it's so easy to be too critical of yourself to the point where, I always felt like I didn't release anything because I wasn't happy with it. And then 3 years later, I'd listen back to something I made and I'm like, what was I thinking? That was actually kind of decent. But it's like we're always our own worst enemy, and it's just so weird to get out of that mindset because I feel like we're trying to prevent ourselves from being sloppy or not the best we can be. But then sometimes overthinking that is actually the thing that's preventing you from. It's ironic. It's very ironic.
I used to have my first short film that I ever made. It was something I made in high school, I think. And it was so corny. It was just about one person realizing they didn't have any milk and going to the grocery store to get milk, but it was like kind of a chase scene as we were following them on their journey to get milk, and it was so funny. And But at that time, I was like, this is terrible. I don't want this to ever see the light of day. So I like deleted the file. I deleted everything.
Oh yeah.
And now looking back, I was trying to find it, and it's wiped off the earth. Like I couldn't find a trace of it. It actually made me really sad because I was like, why did I delete that? Like it was fine. No one was gonna like tell me it was a terrible thing. I was a high schooler.
You're right. You were learning. You have to go through those.
Yeah. But yeah. What about you? What's your one thing that you can get behind? Yes.
So something I've been dwelling on a lot lately is one thing I can get behind this year, and this is very much a musical thing. It's just listening intentionally. I feel like I have a very sometimes overactive brain, and sometimes when I listen to music I just kind of put it in the background. I'll start listening to music and I'm like, I can't just listen to music, I gotta be doing like 5 other things. So but I've noticed every time I do just listen intentionally to music, it is the most beneficial thing that I could ever do for my playing or my listening or just appreciating these great pieces. And that just goes for so many different things, whether that's like a movie or art or even just listening to people. You listen intentionally to people. Or just you just take things intentionally. You don't have to. Our world is so the modern this social media landscape that we live in is always pushing us, to do more and do more. And here's 5 things at once. But there's so much value in just, it sounds like a cliche, but just taking things slow and focusing your energy very intentionally on one thing or another. Like I said, whether that's music, I found a lot of benefit for that, or just even I don't mean like this band doesn't do a super wide topic, but even just with people, just be intentional with everything.
I think it can it can work with like everything. Mm-hmm. Especially with us being creatives, I feel like so many creative people that I've met who are in the arts or in music or in film or in anything creative, they're always the most creative people I've ever met who have like 8 different hobbies that they're trying to pursue at the same time. And it's like, it's especially hard because you never know which one to focus on. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And then, and one thing I can't get behind, and I know this is a very multifaceted topic, I know we've kind of touched on it already, but just like not making the most of my time. It's something I've struggled with burning myself out before, but there's been so many times where I'll get home and I'm like, I have some spare time, and I could be using that, to play guitar or to write music, but then I don't. And sometimes you just gotta relax and take a break. But there's been so many times where I've just forced myself to go do something, whether that's music or writing or going out with friends or something. And I find I rarely ever regret it. So this year I just want to really focus on putting myself out there to make the most out of the time that I can, while also being careful to not burn myself out, because that's just, I feel like some of my favorite songs that I've ever written are when I just forced myself to go write music. Like maybe I don't feel like doing this right now, but I know keeping it in mind for the future, it rarely ever disappoints. So that's one thing I'm going to try to do, even really try to focus on it last year, even more so this year. I want to make the most use out of my time, because time is such a gift. It is such a gift, and I want to use it to the best I can. So that's what that's essentially, I'm choosing very broad kind of esoteric things today, but
I do too. I feel like no better time is either like now too, like right after you've gotten out of college, you have your degree. What better time than now to really prioritize your time on that? How did involvement on campus help you become a better musician versus if you would have not gone to college at all and listened to those thoughts where it wasn't a reliable thing for you?
Well, there's just so many rabbit trails I could go down with this, because Whitewater, it was such a good experience, especially as a musician. I think one that comes to mind right away was I did a lot of studio recording. I had never, ever done that before. And that was a very, I don't want to say high pressure environment, which it is, because, everybody knows about red light or recording fever when you get stepped into the studio, and there's a lot of pressure to play. I thought going into doing session work for people, playing on people's albums and whatnot, that was going to be a lot of, very exact stuff, like, oh yeah, you got to get this perfectly right, in 2 takes or whatnot. But what I found is that a lot of the people I started recording with, when I would play on their especially the songwriters, the people who weren't looking to make an exact cover or whatnot, they were very open to just, learning from each other and collaborating. And I thought that was just amazing. When I played on one of Jay Krupa's Capstone EP, I played a couple songs on guitar in there, just seeing how we, like, the initial expectations we had going into the session versus the product that we left with. It was just a crazy process to see that in real time. And I really hadn't experienced that before. I had been in a lot of bands where it was very by the book, we're playing this song, this arrangement. So Whitewater really opened my mind to be a lot more creative than I was before, because I saw that, just embracing the creative process in songwriting and music was an amazing thing. And that just led me to try new things, try different styles, try to mix styles, like I was just talking about. And it was great. It was great. But just the opportunity to play with so many different people and learn from them, that's the thing that really stands out for me. And just all those different things I had to try with music, a live sound, or recording, or whatever, you learned something from every one of them. And you left better than you were before. Even if it was a bad experience. I had bad recording experiences, really bad ones. And
you and me both, yeah.
But I'm thankful for them, because how would I ever have known that if I hadn't gone through that experience? Never. So it was just, putting yourself out there. There's so much more value to working, like doing these projects, because you can read, even if like the stuff you learned from, participating in even the bad projects, if you had just read that, it'd be like, in a textbook or something, like, yeah, okay, cool. That sounds rather nice. But when you actually go out and you experience it and you work through it, and it's real, and it's a real life scenario, there's just an intangible, there's so many intangible lessons from that you could have never learned. So that was the biggest thing for me in Whitewater, was just, you learn things you could have never even comprehended beforehand. It's a beautiful thing.
One thing I admired about UWW is that if you work hard during your degree, you're more than likely going to come out with a huge full portfolio. Yes. And even still being in school, I have a lot more than if I would have not gone to school. Like I was saying, I'd probably still be working in retail. But I think just being at college, and especially at UWW, has just been crazy at, one, helping me develop a portfolio, whether that be in-class stuff or has inspired me to do stuff on my own, or just given me the work ethic to do so. And personally, I like to keep all my stuff on a portfolio website, which was really hard to do at first because I was very overcritical on my stuff. So I was like, I don't even know if I have enough to make a website. Would I even want to put this public? And then in terms of even both comparison culture and getting that voice out of my head is when I said, I'm just going to put everything up, because if I don't put everything up, I'm going to put nothing up. So is there a specific way that you like to keep track of your, all of your work? I know it's a little bit different, but is there a specific place, maybe a streaming service or maybe a portfolio website too?
So, oh gosh. Okay, if you were talking to me about writing, everything is so ridiculously organized. I've got, websites and folders and, portfolios and different resumes and whatnot for my writing side. But, oh my goodness, I don't know if it's more so a lot of time I do it as a hobby. My musician side is, organization is terrible, I'll be honest. I think I sent you my music portfolio a couple months ago. And
yep, you did.
That was my first attempt to really organize my work as a musician, because otherwise it was scattered between my OneDrive, different hard drives, my horrifying downloads folder, which had like literally everything I made.
Yeah.
So that isn't something I've really been learning. And when I finally pushed myself to organize, like even like the different sessions by genre and whatnot, because really graduating from UW Whitewater made me think about that more. Because I'm like, okay, I have to, I won't have my OneDrive after a while because, after graduation, you lose a lot of those benefits. So I had everything I had to organize. I had to have so many files on my computer. I'm like, no, I just need to spend a couple hours and organize these. So that's been a good lesson. But for so many years, just, oh gosh, all went to the downloads folder. It made sense in my head. But whenever one of my musician friends would happen to see my computer and organizing, and even some professors, they were like, how do you keep track of this? And I'm like, yeah. But right now, I'm doing a lot of folders. And I want to make a website for my music. I had made one for writing a long time ago, but especially after this last semester and exiting college, I want to make music a lot more of a priority, for some sort of side gig or more different gigs, or heck, even as a career. So I want to emphasize that more. But yeah. For a while, it was, and I don't recommend it. Learn from me. Do not go down that path.
I've been there, trust me. When I first started using, I think all of us have used Google Drive. And then when I got my PC, I got like an external hard drive, and that still wasn't enough. And of course, when you're applying for jobs and stuff, a resume just doesn't do it in the creative field. You need to show what you work on. And that doesn't work in a Google document. So I started using Adobe Portfolio, which is...
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I first started using Adobe Creative Cloud when I installed it on my computer for Premiere Pro. And that's when I was spending all those nights and days in the University Anderson computer labs and spending like 16 to 24 hours straight just editing. And then coming back the next day, and it was insane. And there was a time when I was editing, it was like episode 1 and 2 of Outrunnable, that I was just surviving off of like protein Rice Krispie treats. I felt like a mouse, and I was just like, okay, like I don't want to spend the money. It was a good deal. Adobe had like something for students where it's like for the first year you can get 50% off, and you only have to spend like $20 a month for all of the Adobe stuff.
Oh wow, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And the reason why I didn't want to do it was because it like after the first year, which is coming up, it goes up to like 45 or something. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. But after spending all that time in Anderson Library, I was like, you know what? $40 is $40 to claim my sanity. So I bought that, and then that led to Adobe Portfolio, and that's how I ended up using my website. And they've got a lot of templates and stuff, and as a creative, I found it's very, very nice to use because you can create subpages and everything for pretty much any passion you have. Put in embedded links and videos and pictures and links to different platforms and social media things, and it's definitely helped me keep track of my work for sure. Getting it to the place where it is now was definitely it was a process. I think I spent like 16 hours going through all my stuff and cleaning it out, and taking the process that you were doing where just realize that you had to organize all your stuff. So I think now the only difficult thing for me is just keeping up with it. If anything, it's not too difficult, but like if you fall behind, then you have to sit down and put all the stuff up again. And thankfully, it's pretty nice. I'd highly recommend it if you're looking into a website. But you'd also have to like have the Adobe stuff, or I don't know, maybe it's different. But that's an option. I know they have like Wix and stuff, but. Otherwise, like if you're into programming, apparently you can program your own website.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, Jacob programmed his own website, and I was like, I'm okay. You do your own thing. But I would look over and he'd have like a entire like window full of code and mathematics, and I was like, I'm just gonna pay my $40 a month for Adobe. You do you.
Like you said, your sanity.
Yeah, exactly. How do you think being an eclectic musician or one who plays by ear has changed your experience with music? I know you mentioned that you and your dad both play from ear, so I'm just very curious how that has altered the way that you experience music.
Yeah. So, this is probably my bad, but actually, no one in my family plays music aside from me.
Really?
Yeah. So
maybe I got that wrong.
That was probably my bad. I have other relatives. I have uncles who play by ear as well.
Oh, it must have been your uncle. I think. I probably got that mixed up.
No one in my immediate family plays by ear. My dad is, holy cow, he's an awesome and incredibly eclectic music nerd. I learned entirely by ear, and it was a wild journey to get to the kind of music where I'm producing now. I originally listened to a lot of jazz fusion in middle school, and I found my dad had ripped a lot of CDs to our one of our computers, and I just got so bored one day, so I just started listening to whatever music was on this hard drive, and it was fun. But there was this one folder and I kid you not, this sounds like nonsense, but just bear with me here. It was bluegrass, jazz, rock, like fusion music. It was a band called Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, and the guy was the best 5-string banjo player in the world, but he would play jazz with it and weird rock music, and just it's all over the place. It drives my brother and my poor mom crazy because it's just like, but for what my fevered middle grade self loved it, and it just like that was the first music. I always loved music, but that was like the first band I really invested into. Like, it had a grip on me. I still love the band. I'm gonna try to see them live this year because they're touring again. But they're incredible band. But it was bluegrass, like jazz fusions. But so that naturally led me to want to play banjo. And so that was actually my first instrument. I started at 15. I played banjo, and by an utter miracle of God, there was a banjo teacher in this local area. So I started learning from him. Well, of course, he's not going to teach me jazz. So I started out playing bluegrass music. And that was a whole bluegrass and traditional country music. Now, everyone in bluegrass and traditional country plays like exclusively by ear. You know, all the solos are more or less, made up on the spot. They really don't memorize a lot of things.
Right.
And they figure out, you go to a bluegrass jam and you're probably going to play, you're not going to know probably like half the songs they play, but you have to just figure them out by ear on the spots. So that's where I started from. I never learned how to read sheet music. I probably still, I could if you like put a gun to my head or something like that. But I don't want to think about that. And, but no, so I still play exclusively by ear. And I think, again, nothing against people who learned by reading sheet music, because, that's it makes sense, and especially when you're learning, when you're learning, it's so nice to see the notes in front of you and just be able to, because that kind of helps keep, more focused on like the physical part of it, like your hands and, the pedals and whatnot. That helps a lot with that. And that's great. But I feel like there's a problem when you get too dependent on, reading those notes. Because I've known friends and they're wonderful musicians, but they couldn't play without the sheet music. When you learn to figure out things by ear, and this is just my take, a lot of people disagree with me. When you learn how to play things by ear, it helps so much, A, when you write your own music, and B, when you're playing with other people. Because when you're playing in different bands, especially in more, rock, jazz, improvisational kind of based stuff, they're not going to play it exactly as the sheet music. or the singer might not be able to sing something, so I have to change the key. When you're just dependent upon a sheet of music, that is a nightmare, because you're like, oh no, I have to relearn the whole song. But if you play by ear and you just kind of, it's a lot easier to adapt to that sort of thing. And I found that be a great use in a creative setting, because like when I was with, either like when I play guitar for Jake Krupa, or writing even this album, if I wanted to change something, it might take me a little bit, but I could figure it out because I'm just so used to. That's been my whole musician life, just figuring out things by ear. Okay, this note doesn't sound right. Let's try 2 more. Okay, yep, that's it. And having that ability has just been wonderful. So I'm really thankful that my that banjo teacher. Shout out to my guy John Pike. He's a great musician. He plays in a band called Chicken Wire Empire. Greatest band name I've ever heard. Bluegrass band.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and I'm so glad he taught me that way, because it was so easy to go into all these different genres where you're used to adapting. And when, as a musician, I feel like when your brain gets into that mindset, it is so beneficial, because it leads you open to both trying different things, and it just allows you to have fun too. Like, I went to an Irish session last night for the first time. Never played Irish music in my life before, but I've listened to a lot. Never played it before, and I got there, and the man who hosted was a great guy. He's like, all right, this song is in G, figure it out. I'm like, oh!
Yeah.
But it was fun, because when you get used to, improvising and figuring things out by ear, it's just fun. It allows you to just take a step back, like, no, I can do this. No, it doesn't matter that I've never heard this song in my life. I'll figure it out. So I think it's just, I think it's cool because it allows you to be more versatile. So even if you do read sheet music, just learning to play by ear is an incredible skill. And I'm sure learning to read sheet music is a wonderful skill too. I know I've wished I could do it several times, but
even if you do read sheet music, I feel like I used to be in like band, so like I know a little bit of music, but it's like, even like there would be times where I would like lose my track in music and just like try. Like my grandpa always played by ear, so I kind of learned to do it as well. But like if I would lose my track in music, it would just like help me get back on track. Like even I could just play it by ear while I'm finding my place back on the sheet music. Yes. So even if like you don't know the whole song, it still helps with like problem solving.
Victor Wooten, he's a bassist actually for that band, Bale Fleck and the Flecktones, the bluegrass fusion insanity I used to listen to, in a lovely way. He had a really neat video about ear training, and he said it's really useful because when you think about it, and he explained it so much better than I could ever explain it. He had like a guitar in his hands, but not. He says when you learn to play by ear, you're never more than 2 notes away from the right one. And that's just a tremendous skill, because if you can train your ear to, you play a note, you're like, oh, no, that's not it. We'll try this one. No, that's not it. By the time you get to that 3rd note, you can usually figure it out. And that's just an incredible skill, because usually you play 2 wrong notes, nobody cares. You play 3,
they look at you a little different.
Exactly. So I think it's just a wonderful skill. So if it's just, like I said, sheet music is a great thing. I love that it's there, but I highly recommend playing by ear. It's just, I think it just makes you more open to trying new things and to having fun with music.
You've played a lot of different like kinds of music. Like you were talking about your banjo, of course, and your guitar and bass, and I know you played a variety of different genres like country and jazz fusion, like you were saying, and even praise music. Is there a specific type of music or maybe an instrument that you favor over the others?
Not particularly. I mean, I guess my favorite all-time kind of music is more or less the stuff I produce. So like, mixture of classic rock and a lot of those alternative indie rock kind of stuff. That's the stuff where I really feel at home. That's probably, if I had to get one that, so like, different kinds of indie, which that's a massively broad genre on its own. But no, I think I know I keep saying this, music it's so different in all its different genres, and I think that's an amazing thing. So I love trying all these different genres. You learn things from trying like bluegrass and country, like it sounds so goofy, but that was so just the way those guys write songs and the way that it's improvisational and they play out the rhythms helped me so much with, believe it or not, praise music. You don't think those things are the same, but when you play in one, you get to see how just that experience helps you with the next. So I think it's just I love so many different genres. It kind of sounds like a cliche, but
they all connect in different areas.
Yes, yeah. The only one I really haven't tried, because I really can't read sheet music, would be classical or more, how do I put it, not antiquated, but the more formal kinds of music, like
yeah.
So I've usually stayed in improvisational kind of genres.
Well, I feel like classical music is its own different breed of music too. Like that's something that has always mesmerized me, but I couldn't I played baritone, so like I was never anywhere close to any of that kind of music. But it's no surprise that like music like that takes dedication, and so does yours. It takes a devotion to your craft and takes time and sacrifice, especially in fields that require you to create, like music. Is there, what aspects of your daily routine that your career has had you forced you to prioritize and put on the back burner in your life?
Yeah.
A lot, probably.
Well, a lot of driving. I totally underestimated that. It's a lot of driving. So that's been something that, obviously takes a lot of time. I've had to, because I've been driving so much more, I had to, these are just kind of the mundane things you don't think about when you go from not being very involved in music to being very involved. It's like, I had to put a lot more money into my truck to keep it running because I was driving it. I think I estimated 5 times more than I did before.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't mind driving. It's fine. It's great. But that was something that surprised me when I really got into it. Is that you really had to focus on, not only driving but making time for that, considering, keeping your vehicle in running order, because it gets really important as you get into a lot more important and advanced gigs. But just, you got to practice, of course.
Right.
That's been, that's kind of a cliche for musicians, but even if you're playing the most free-form, fusion, improvisational kind of music, you have to practice. And that doesn't necessarily have to be, at least in my opinion, like scales or something formal, just playing every single day. And that takes a lot of time. It does. And a lot of wear on your fingers and your wrist. I've had to keep really good care of my wrist when you play every day, especially with guitar. So just kind of mundane things like that is what surprised me. I thought it would be like the time commitment. I found that when I really loved what I was doing and I really enjoyed it, it was so easy to make time for that. Because it just forced me to think of ways like, okay, how can I had to prepare ahead of time. It's like, I'm gonna have to leave open room in my schedule in case I want to do a gig here. So it was just very mundane things. I know it's not a very exciting answer, but it was just very mundane things like that, where you had to, like you said, you had to determine that this is important to me. And yeah, the fingers are gonna get beat up. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a lot more on gas. Yeah, I'm going to, I might be writing some papers at 2 a.m. because I went to a gig at night.
Yeah.
That's just it's just stuff like that. But in the end, you realize when you get done with a gig and it was good, or you meet new people, it is all worth it. It's all worth it.
In terms of gigs, I've always been curious how, I'm sure it means like just establishing connections and stuff, and that you mentioned that it kind of is a snowball effect after that. How do you go about getting gigs in such a wide range of opportunities?
So, this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's ever since I graduated, because I really started to realize how many of my music connections were centered around Whitewater. And that's not a bad thing. So, it's just meeting people and it sounds like a cliche, but meeting people. And the thing I've noticed is like this one band that I'm forming a new band, most likely. We're just gonna do some classic rock covers and whatnot. But it was a guy that I knew from one of my jobs at Old World, Wisconsin, a history museum in the area. And I wouldn't know that this guy ever played music unless I talked to him about it. So it's just like, being open about the fact that you are a musician, leads people to get, because otherwise, I would have never have known that this guy played drums, and he's absolutely amazing. So I think it's just a lot of, it sounds like a cliche that you hear on LinkedIn or something, but it's connections. You meet people, at least that's been for me. They lead you to somewhere else, and then all of a sudden you're involved with something. And
just putting yourself out there, really.
Yeah. But I think post-graduation, a lot of those, it was such a rich vein of musicians that I'm still, of course, friends with all those musicians, but a lot of those activities are centered around the school. Like, okay, we're going to go to the studio and record. Like, okay, I don't have a studio anymore. Like, it forces, I've been trying to figure out, it's something I've been actively processing, how post-graduation, I'm going to find more, veins of people to play music with that aren't under an umbrella of a school.
Right.
And so I haven't figured, your guess is as good as mine, Rory, but I'm gonna try to like go to different sessions, just meet different people and see where things go, and just take risks. So, I might go to a gig and it might be terrible, and that's it. But I gave it a shot.
At least you did it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. The ones that it's worth, because I've seen how taking risks can lead to so many different connections and people. So it's just putting yourself out there. It's a cliche. It's so often overused cliche, but it's true. You just gotta meet people. They lead you to different people, or sometimes people will meet you, and you'll be leading them to all these different gigs. I've met musicians at Whitewater that I've helped them to get involved, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
In a world, in a career where it can be hard to play some days, or whether you don't want to make the drive distance or not, if it's really long, or maybe you're just simply burnt out. How do you tell the difference between pushing yourself to improve and pushing yourself too far that you're neglecting your self-care?
Yeah, that is a deep question, and something I've never quite figured it out, to be honest, because I think, like I was talking about earlier, I don't like to be a no person. Just in general, I don't. If I'm excited about something, I want to do that, and I've pushed myself to really bad burnout. Probably the last 2 years, if not 3. And a lot of it has been probably centered around all the different music things I'm doing. And in one hand, I love to do these things, and they're so worth it. But for me, what I've been trying to figure out is, when does it get to the point where, I want to play this, but balancing that where, I'm excited about this, I want to play this, I want to meet new people, try doing this new gig, versus, like you said, is this we're neglecting self-care? Is this being bad for me? Or more importantly, the way I've been trying to think about it is, am I getting to the point where I can't do my best for these people anymore?
Right.
I just want to you want to be considerate to other people, because if you're showing up to a gig, you're burnt out, you can't think, you can't play. That's not only a negative thing for you, but it's a lot of times it's not considerate to other people. So I've just been trying to think more about that. Take breaks. There was one point, and I really don't regret it, because it was amazing. At Crew, I think I played for every week for 3 straight semesters. And that was additionally also playing for my church each week too, and then how many recording gigs. It was like, I looked at it and I'm like, I have not had a break in like 3 semesters.
How many hours a day was that for Crew?
Gosh. 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
6 hours?
I mean, a lot of that was having fun and going to Culver's afterwards and whatnot. But like, I would say from the initial setup to like finally locking the doors at our storage unit to put everything away, it would often be about 11 o'clock.
my gosh.
So, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. But it got to the point where I had to there was one point I took a break. I just told the guys, I'm sorry, I got to take a break now. Because I was getting to the point where I don't think I can be my best for you guys anymore. And I don't want to do that to you guys. So
right.
It's just finding that balance. Because I love to be so eager about these things, but it's not only being considerate to yourself, listening to your body and just your mental state, your mental health. It's also being considerate to other people, because I always try to be my best.
Right.
Whatever I quest. And sometimes that means not doing something.
Yeah. And that can be hard too, especially if you're a go-getter, like business-minded. Sure. It can be very, very hard to do that. Speaking of, moving into post-graduation experience, what has been the biggest reality check of being a musician post-grad?
I have to say, I was just talking about a few minutes ago, that how many of my music connections were centered around like whitewater events, whether being, at crew or in the studio, or these gigs led to different gigs. It's been kind of jarring in a lot of ways. I'm like, how many of those things were very whitewater centered? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, it's a wonderful thing. But it's just like, okay, I can't be dependent on meeting people through a university anymore. I gotta go try random stuff. Like I went to this Irish pub in Watertown the other night. I knew one of the people there, but I just have to try things like that, because it requires a lot. It feels a bit scarier than something that's just at Whitewater, and all the people you're going to be interacting with are fellow college students, and we have a lot in common, versus something where it's like, okay, this is going to be different.
Right.
So it's been kind of that, just trying to figure out, and I haven't figured it out by any means. I'm still staying pretty busy. It's not nearly Whitewater level, but it's just trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I move on? Because it was great, but it was a season, and that season has to end.
Yeah. Is it a lot slower for you now, or would you say it's about the same pace?
Definitely slower. Which has been also great, because that's allowed me to record my own music a lot more. Even during Capstone, I had so much trouble finding time to record my own music, and more so my own projects, because I was always playing somewhere else. That was fun. That was cool.
Yeah.
But it made it really hard for me to just take some time and focus on some more personal projects. So that's been something that's been wonderful. I've been able to, devote hours and hours a day to recording what's going to be the next couple singles for this album. And so that's been cool. I'm just trying to look for the best in it, but I'm totally looking to get involved. We'll just see where it leads me. Figure it out or something like that. I don't know.
Now that you've released your first EP, are you looking to produce more lyrical and original music, or are you thinking maybe mostly instrumental?
The goal... So my favorite songs are songs with lyrics. I've always been a person, even just from a young age, I resonate deeply with lyrics, because there's something about, I'm a writer as well. You can write things down on a piece of paper, these words and whatnot, and then they mean a lot there. But there's something just transcendent and just utterly just spellbinding by how, when you put those words and those ideas to something so abstract and as free-flowing and as just beautiful as music, that they mean so much differently. Like, if you just read the lyrics of a song literally, it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. But then you put that in the context of something that's so dynamic, like audio and music, that's special. So I've always wanted to be able to do that for my own music, but it's just been trying to work on that has been a long journey. But I think I'm happy to say last week I wrote my first lyrical song that I think I was like 80% happy with. So that was really...
That's amazing.
So that actually was...
Do you want me to set a due date for you so that way you get it out?
I would appreciate it.
How about I make you guess the due date? I'll say, to make it a mysterious factor in it.
All right.
You have to release it before I release the podcast or something. Then you have to guess when I'm editing and when I'm publishing it. That way you'll have to do it tonight. Otherwise, I won't have to do it. I'll stay up until 6 a.m. tonight editing this just to make you do it.
There we go.
Just kidding.
No,
do
I know.
You think
That's
like it's been a different change of pace without due dates to keep you in line?
Oh gosh, yeah, totally. I know I touched on it earlier. I loved having a due date for Capstone because it's like it just felt like you're building towards this grand thing, and I have to get it done by this, so there's no turning back. And that helped curb a lot of, like we were talking about earlier, self-criticism and this perfectionism. Because it's like when I don't have a deadline, I will, and I hate it. I obsess about it. About music, like, oh no, I can mix this different. No, re-record this. No, actually, I hate this version. We're just scrapping the whole thing. I feel like those thoughts, which they come from a good place because you want to make your art or your creative product the best you can be. But oh my gosh, are they detrimental? And with Capstone and having that deadline, that concrete deadline, where it was a big deal, I would fail the class if I didn't submit something in time. It helped so much. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can set deadlines for myself, or maybe like like you were joking about earlier, talk to other people to keep you not responsible, but just kind of on track. So yeah, because it's all about, for me, it's just I listen to too many of my own self-critical thoughts when there's no particular deadline. So
well, it's hard to do if like you're doing other things too. Yes. At first, when I first started this podcast, my goal was to publish every Sunday. But now it's like, with working with all this stuff and like planning for next season, it's like kind of hard to do because you can't really record one regular podcast while doing all of this stuff and planning pre-interviews. And
oh gosh, yeah.
So it's like you have to find like a reasonable deadline while also maintaining your sanity. Like you can't like say that you need to develop a song every week because there's also artistic burnout, like writer's block and all of that stuff. Like you can't, if you do that, you're more than likely just going to end up with low quality reproduction.
Very compromised.
It's like, yeah. You have to find like a really, it's hard. Like you have to compromise, like you said, to find like what's the word? Middle ground?
Yeah, totally. The sweet spot.
It's hard. As a filmmaker, personally, I find comfort in the fact that while it can be stressful, I am able to share my story through a series of frames and cuts to make others who have experienced similar things like I did feel less alone and more heard. And I know you mentioned that you're really reflecting with like lyrics. Are there any aspects of music like lyrics that bring you the same sense of gratitude that my filmmaking does?
Yeah. Creative process for music is so amazing. It really is. And I don't mean that to just talk about my own music. It's like I've been in the studio, like when Jake Krupa, who's an incredible songwriter, shout out to my guy. He's an amazing songwriter. I cannot believe the kind of stuff he comes up with. But like, it's to be part of that process when, I don't want to say it's something out of nothing, because we're also inspired by the people who came before us and the ideas in our, but it's so crazy to enter into a space, not having written this song, and then especially at the end of a recording session, like, look at what we have now. I think that is so cool. And especially if anybody, even if it's just the artists themselves, can get some sort of lessons or inspiration or just pure enjoyment. There's nothing wrong with that. Just enjoyment out of a song. I think that makes everything so worth it. So just keeping that end goal in mind. Like, why are we here? Because we love music, and I think it betters us to make it. It's like anything of a creative outlet, like your films. And if that can have an impact on other people, it's flattering, and yeah, it's just It's a great feeling. It really is. It's just anybody, even in, like I said, it's just the artists themselves can get any ounce of enjoyment or, like I said, lessons or inspiration behind a song. That makes everything so worth it. It's just good. So music is just. I've always said that the way I look at music is I believe music is a gift from God. Because it's just such an unusual thing when you think about it. Because, music, like singing is just kind of a strange thing in and of itself. And like these drum beats and chords and all these very abstract things. But here it is, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. So I think just thinking about music just as a gift and just as a really special thing, that keeps you going. Because it's amazing. It really is. I wish I had more words to say about that, but...
No, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Aside from money, what does pursuing a career in music cost you that people outside of music don't always see?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, like you said, a lot of money. Equipment is expensive, but disregarding that, well, it's a lot of commitment. It's a lot of commitment. And I feel like, I'm sure you've experienced this as a filmmaker too, putting yourself out there, especially in an original creative light, is uncomfortable, especially at first. And, that's not only just for the comparison culture. I found that when you working with music and different types of music or your own original music, it like activates parts of your brain, I feel, that just, it's hard work. It's not a natural. It doesn't. Well, I don't want to say it's not a natural way of thinking, but it's unusual and it's uncomfortable at first. So it's just a totally different mindset.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. It's like that's not just it's writing, playing, like you said, being performed, being perceived. It's just there's a lot of a hidden side to that when you first enter into, especially the creative space. We're talking about songwriting. It's hard to even describe that. It's unusual, but I it's not like a broken record, but it's all worth it in the end. It really is.
I think getting out there too is like super hard because like you were saying, it's all about how you start, and getting out there can be really hard too. And I feel like that hinders a lot of us, especially with like when we're first starting out and determining whether we want to go to college or what we want to go to college for, or whether we just want to go for like business just so we can get a degree. And I think about it a lot in terms of, you always hear like the cheesy, what would you say to yourself if you were younger, like, and I always think about that a lot, like the impact I would have, like 2026 Rori would have on a younger version of myself, like maybe when I was first deciding to work with film, where I was like mastering Windows Movie Maker and like iMovie.
Nice.
I knew the ins and outs of that, but like growing up in a city where it was like not a realistic thing, and it was just kind of like you were messing around and creating silly little videos. It was hard, and I think about that a lot. So my question to you is, if you could mentor middle school TJ right now, what is one piece of advice you would give him, whether it's about pursuing music or just in general?
Middle school TJ was an interesting character. But if I could say a few things to him, that when he's starting out, when I was in middle school, I was right when I started listening to all that weird fusion stuff and let me pick up the banjo. If I would have meant, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard in ways that you can't understand yet. And although that sounds grand and kind of a little abstract, but it is true. Like, I remember my first public performance playing banjo. It was at the East Troy Bluegrass Festival, just like 15 minutes from Whitewater. It's a great festival. Highly recommend it. But they had a banjo competition there, and I had so much anxiety with it that I went up there and my hand stopped functioning. I couldn't play. And it sounded terrible. And there were like 500 people there. And that, like, if I could have known, like, just the mental journeys and just, the challenges that's going to come with music, I wouldn't tell that to my middle school self by any means. But that it's all gonna be worth it. Like, hey, you're gonna go through some stuff with music. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna mess up. It's gonna be embarrassing. You're gonna have to do a lot of soul searching with it. You're gonna have to take risks, and not all of them are gonna work out. It's gonna suck at times. Your fingers are gonna ache, but you're gonna think, "Oh my goodness, I could never do this," But it's all worth it in the end. And for me, music was like, it's a huge part of my life. I kind of live and breathe music, but just the impact that it has, I think I've seen this in not only myself, but lots of other my friends and colleagues I know, and they can testify to that. It gives you a lot of confidence. It bolsters you because it's hard. It's not easy. Nothing about music, especially when you get to the levels that I think are worth it, none of them, it's not easy at all. It's difficult. It sucks. But it's all worth it in the end. And it really gives you a lot of confidence because, frankly, you're going to mess up a lot. And learning, especially like when I was in middle school, going into high school, and then to college, learning how to deal and handle messing up was like the most valuable lesson I ever could learn. Because it just taught you to be more confident for yourself, to get better, not let these mistakes grind you down, just to develop some emotional toughness, while still just embracing how cool the music was. It was, so just that's, if I had to say one thing to that fevered, crazy middle school TJ, it's that keep going, it's worth it, and you're gonna look back and you're saying like, man, where would I be without this? Because this is, I know what I was supposed to do. This is what I was supposed to do. So.
And moving in the other direction, 5-year plan, TJ. When you imagine yourself in 5 years from now, where are you? What are you doing? And what do you hope music is still giving you? The scary 5-year plan.
I would like to give a confident answer for this, but if you had interviewed me 5 years ago, but where I would be today, I'd be like, no way, you're crazy. That's not happening. Come on, be realistic. Kind of like,
yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see where the Lord leads me and what paths, because I'm feeling confident because I know that college has taught me a lot, and I can take these lessons. Just life in general. All these experiences have taught me a lot, and I can take them into wherever I am now and just see where that goes. So I'm excited. It's all new. It's exciting. I
like that answer.
Oh yeah, that's just where I'd like to think I'm still recording a lot, doing gigs, hopefully having a writing job where I can, be really passionate about what I do. And I'd love to work for a nonprofit. I've been applying for a lot of those jobs because I like to put my heart into it. So hopefully I'm doing that, but Lord only knows where I'll be in 5 years.
Right.
I'm sure as ever excited along the way. So that's the best answer I think I can give you at this point.
No, I like that answer. How can our viewers follow your journey?
Yes, so my music is available under all platforms under TJ Borkenhagen. If you just search TJ Borkenhagen Fields of Fire, I believe I have it on every platform right now except Instagram. Instagram doesn't seem to like it. So I'll figure that out soon. It's available to stream on all platforms, and I do have an Instagram page for my music. That's simply just TJ Borkenhagen Music. That's TJ, B as in boy, ORKENHAGEN Music. So that's on Instagram. I need to get a bit more active with that. I've never had 2 Instagram accounts before, so that's kind of another thing, like you're talking about the business and trying these different things.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, available on Spotify, wherever you stream music, and also I'm gonna try to end with that Instagram page. I'm gonna try to keep that active and like just kind of hopefully give you a glimpse into the creative process as well. So and hopefully I'll have a website at some point to see where it goes.
All right, TJ, what content can we expect from you moving forward? Can we expect that new release this Sunday?
Well, I will say it's done, but it doesn't have drums. So I need to get in contact with a couple of my drummer friends and see what we can do for that. But yes, lots of new music coming out soon. I expect to be releasing stuff within the next couple weeks, which will be exciting. Hopefully not. If I don't, please keep me accountable for that. I'm looking to branch out into different types of music too. I have like 3 albums worth of ambient music that I've made over the years, and I'm looking to finally release that. I don't know if that'll be under my TJ Borkenhagen name or something else. But yeah, lots of music. I hope to be producing a lot of albums too. I want to keep recording. I love recording with other artists, especially when they're doing their own music. So yeah, and so hopefully lots of fun things. It's just
so perfect.
Something like that. We'll see.
Well, I think that's a great way to end the podcast on a positive note. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast, TJ. I'm so happy we're able to share your perspective as a musician and further promote your work. You're going to go so far and do such great things.
Well, Rory, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I love your podcast. I genuinely do. I really mean that. And you just, all the work, I've seen you do a Whitewater, the Outrunable series, the cool stuff you made for audio too. You have a really, I wish I had a better way to articulate it, but you put a lot of heart into your work, and there's so much detail in it, and it shows. Like, you're so well respected on campus. It's so cool. Like,
Thank you, TJ.
Like, I would hear, seriously, I would hear like, oh yeah, Rory made this. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really, because you make really, really awesome work, and I love it. It's really cool.
And I appreciate that. Rory's Room is written and produced by myself, Rori Nicole, and you can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. Theme songs and background music were produced by TJ Borkenhagen. You can follow Rory's Room on Instagram, @Rory's Room, and follow me at itsrory_x for updates on the show and a few more glimpses into life behind the mic. If you enjoyed today's episode, drop a review wherever you listened in. The goal of this show is to share my story and the stories of others in a way that makes people feel a little less alone. The next episode will be out April 12th, 2026, where we will be sitting down with artist and designer Sienna Fromey. Tune in the following week, April 19th, for the final part of TJ's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all next time in Rory's Room.